For every loved agent, there is also one that is hated by everyone. And it is no surprise that Breach is one of the most hated agents in the community. How many times have you seen yourself in a 1v1 scenario just to realize you're against Breach with full abilities and ult? And if that Breach knows what he's doing, there's little you can do. The annoying part is that whenever the enemy team has a Breach, he's some top 10 leaderboard player, while your own Breach can set up an ult to save his life. This agent is the bane of many new players' careers. Getting hit with a full combo from Breach feels like someone splashing cold water on your back. It's something you never want to experience again. But not the same can be said by our next agent, Jett, which sits opposite to Breach. Jett is one of the most loved agents in the game, and you can clearly see that from the number of noobs that are always trying to play and to have her as their main. Riot pushes her whenever they can, and basically she becomes the face of Valorant. Why, you might ask? Well, all of your favorite top players are playing her to the max of her abilities. It's incredible when you see a really good Jett player killing everybody with her ult while dashing through the air. There is nothing more satisfying than hitting headshots with her ult. But also there is nothing funnier than seeing the enemy Jett missing every knife while you're just 2 meters in front of her. 10 out of 10 experience. Moving to the next hated agent, we can't ignore Yoru. Why is Yoru so hated by the community? Well, let's start with his abilities. Yoru has one of the most annoying ability sets in the game. His teleportation, his ult, and flashes are things you hate to play against, especially when that Yoru actually knows 1 or 2 things about the game. You can be chilling on B site, waiting for something to happen, just for a random Yoru to pop out behind you from nowhere to one-tap you, or even worse, knife you. And again, like with Breach, whenever you play against a Yoru, somehow their Yoru is 10 times better than your Yoru. Theirs always knows how to pop flash, always flanks the enemy team and does crazy plays while your Yoru sits like a lost monkey in the middle of the corner, waiting for your team to die before he throws a random flash in the middle of nowhere and dies all by himself. But lucky enough, that is something that can be avoided if you have in your team someone like our next beloved agent. And I'm talking about Sage. The so-called mommy of Valorant, Sage is one of the most loved agents in the game for some simple reasons. Her abilities are really balanced. She is a support agent, meaning that she has heals, barriers that help your team out or block the enemy team from entering sites, and the fan favorite, her ult. If you're a trash duelist player or you have some friend that always wants to play a duelist, if you choose Sage, that would be the best decision. The most known combo in the game is not Breach and Raze, it's actually the average duelist and their duo Sage that can save their ass whenever they die without even damaging the other team. How many times have you seen your duelist just die with no impact just for our beloved Sage player to come and revive their ass and actually make an impact on the game? I bet a lot of times. So if you want everybody to love you and make an impact on the game without even having to kill people, main Sage. Everybody will thank you. But if we move next, we will find one agent that sits on the leaderboard of most hated agents, and I'm talking about Raze, which for a lot of people can come as a surprise, but since the beta of the game, Raze was one of the most hated agents in the game. You peek mid, you get hit for like 30 health by some random dude camping the whole round just to get naded on top of your head by a grenade. Lucky enough, you dodge it, and you're still left with like 30 health. But wait, there is more. Her nade now explodes a second time and now you're 100% dead. Then there's her satchel, which will transform her into some Ferrari with guns jumping on the top of your head. And annoyingly enough, if you're a bad aimer, bad player overall, and you know how to properly use her satchels, you can still catch people by surprise and kill them. Remember that time when that Raze teleported next to you and killed you with a judge? Yeah, we've all been there. And now let's talk about the creme de la creme, her ult. Whenever you wanna push with your team or stack a site with your team, somehow Raze has ult, and somehow in that round, by some miracle, Raze players gain consciousness and learn how to use their ult perfectly, killing everybody. It's just a sight to behold. But if you have a Raze player on your team and he has no idea about satchels and how to use a good ult, you're in for a long game. So instead of playing Raze, try and play an agent that is universally loved, like Astra. You can't go wrong with Astra. Everybody loves an Astro player that can single-handedly turn a lost round into a winning one. Her smokes, pull, and ult can make an unwinnable situation into a 50-50-1 or even a winnable one. No one hates an Astra player. It's like the safest pick you can choose. You will hear no one in your lobby yell at you when you pick Astra. Clove is one of the most hated agents in the game, and it's not hard to see why. Her abilities are a combination of the most annoying aspects you can imagine. First off, she can absorb life force from fallen enemies, giving her a speed boost and temporary health. It feels like you're fighting a tank that just won't go down. Then there's her ability to throw a fragment that decays your health. It's like getting hit with a debuff that leaves you weakened and vulnerable. And just when you think you've got her, she can set up vision blocking clouds from beyond the grave, making her presence on the battlefield relentless. And don't even get me started on her ultimate, she can literally come back from the dead. And if she gets a kill or assist within a short time, she stays alive. It's like dealing with an agent who has 9 lives. Clove's ability to disrupt and weaken opponents while constantly staying in the game makes her universally despised. Now, let's move on to Killjoy, who's on the opposite end of the spectrum. Killjoy is adored by players who love to control the battlefield. Killjoy's turrets and traps are a nightmare for enemies trying to enter your territory. Her utility, including nanoswarm grenades and her lockdown ultimate, can disrupt and control the battlefield. She can single-handedly lock down a site, giving your team a huge strategic advantage. Plus, her nanoswarm grenades are perfect for area denial, and her lockdown ultimate can turn the tide of a round by forcing enemies out of their positions. If you love outsmarting your opponents and setting up intricate defenses, Killjoy is the agent for you. She's all about strategic depth and controlling the flow of the game, which is why she's one of the most loved agents in Valorant. So there it is, the most loved and hated agents in Valorant. If you're interested in learning more about how to use these agents to your advantage and some hidden information about the real truth behind competitive games, check out these other videos that should pop on the screen.
Arrivederci.